Hey folks, John Peterson here, and as photographers, we all know how critical light is to our photographs. We photograph light. Light is what is recorded on our sensors or on our film to produce a visual image. So light is critical to what we do. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about light and how important it can be to certain locations or to certain types of photographs. See, for many years I've been a student of light, is what I've called it. I observe light. I observe the direction of the light and how it plays across different surfaces, different textures, different objects, how it wraps around a spherical object and looking where the light falls off. All of those sort of observations help me when I'm composing a photograph, because to know the behavior of light is to know how it's going to be represented in the camera. So being a student of light is extremely important. I've also found that certain locations are more amenable to good light than others. And I want to show you a few picture examples of what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and take a look. So this concept of location lighting really came into focus for me when I returned from the Palouse area up in eastern Washington. I was up there leading my latest photo workshop, and it got me thinking about how light and location sometimes is more critical than so at other locations. And as a contrast, let's look at Bandon Beach. Now, hopefully you all have heard of Bandon Beach and how famous it is. And in this photograph that we're seeing, we have Face Rock on the left, all these sea stacks, a gorgeous sunset. You know, and this Bandon for me is a location that no matter the light, I can create photographs. So here we are in a beautiful sunset. It's more about the color and the sea stacks and the reflection, and it's less about the light. Yes, light's important to produce the color, but it's really not an integral part of the photograph. Likewise, here's another one. Again, it's about the subject. It's about the sky, the rocks, the ocean, and the light is just there. It's not anything that makes or breaks the photograph. You know, even middle of the day with a fog bank down in Bandon, I can create a photograph such as this. When the marine layer moves in and it gets really foggy on shore, I can create photographs like this. This is a location that it doesn't matter what the weather conditions are or the light conditions are, I can create photographs. Even on dark, stormy days, which is what I really like down at Bandon, I can create photographs such as this. So this is a location that is less light specific. It's more about the subject and less about the light. But when you stop and think about the Palouse is 3/4 about the light. It's really, that's kind of why we go there, is the light and the shape of the landscape. In the Palouse, sure, you can take great photographs just of subjects, such as this, the Leonard barn here with canola in the background. It's mid-morning. Nothing special about the light. It's about the subject and the surroundings. Similarly, this square salt box barn, just in the harvest time. Again, it's about the subject and the surroundings. Yes, the light is nice, but it's not integral to the photograph. Where we really get into having the light be critically important is when we get up onto Steptoe Butte. And we can see stuff like this. It's the rolling hills and the light casting highlights and shadows across the rolling hills, creating this definition and this flow that you see across the landscape. This is why we go to Steptoe Butte. This is why we go to the Palouse, is this type of effect. And light is essential. If you didn't have this sort of low-angled light, this photograph would be boring. It wouldn't really even be worth taking, in my opinion. You know, yes, at sunset up in the Palouse, we can have great color, but again, it's about the light and the shadows on the landscape, creating depth and definition. So I run my Palouse workshop every year about the same time. It's generally around the first week of June. That seems to be the best time to catch the growing wheat fields, but not too late where it's going to be extremely hot up in this area. Typically, the weather in this area around the first week of June is clear skies, mid 80s, and it just, the sky during the day is not of interest at all. But those clear skies do allow this low angle light before sunset that casts those shadows and highlights across the landscape, which is what we want. But this year, when I left my house about 6 hours away from the Palouse, the forecast said showers, rain, sun breaks for the first couple of days. And I headed up there a couple days early to scout different locations to take my workshop. But more specifically, I was excited at the potential of different weather conditions up there, because different weather conditions up in the Palouse can produce some dramatic lighting results. And as I rolled into Colfax and saw the stormy skies overhead, I did not waste any time. I checked into the hotel, unloaded my truck, just dropped everything in a pile on the floor, and then headed back out with my camera to drive around the wheat fields to look for unique lighting situations. So as I headed out from my hotel out into the countryside, I wasn't necessarily looking at wheat fields, I was looking at light. The whole reason for me going out was to photograph light in these very unique conditions. One of the first photographs I took was this beautiful stormy sky with patchy sun breaks illuminating different features of the hills. And if this was a color shot, if this was a blue sky shot, this wouldn't be anything remarkable. But the light and the dappled sunlight makes this photograph. So the whole reason for this photograph is the light. A little bit further along in the day, I came across this scene. Looking down a country road, a rain shower had just passed to darken the roads, and there was a light beam coming down through the solid gray sky with a hint of a rainbow right over this red barn. By itself, this photograph isn't anything much, but the light in this photograph makes it special. This is a photograph, I don't have anything quite like this in my portfolio today. And this highlight on this barn, or right in front of the barn, makes this photograph something special. A little bit later on, I parked at a pullout and watched as the clouds moved across the sky and the sun and shadows played across the hillside. And I started to notice a pattern. I started to notice something really interesting. And I shot a series like this, where this break in the clouds moved across the landscape. And I have a whole series of these photographs, and I just picked this one to show you, but I've got dark in the front, light in the middle, dark in the back, light on top. Beautiful sky, beautiful clouds, but it's all about the layers of shadow and light on the wheat fields. The minute I took this shot and looked at it in the on the LCD on the back of the camera, I knew I had something, and I knew I had something I had not shot before, because it's about the light. And I was satisfied for my personal shooting at this point, and I could have gone home and been happy. But of course I had to run a workshop. But this was all about the light. Even up in the Palouse, what I try to do is even experiment with things that I don't normally shoot, But things like this, right, where I've got this highlight behind the silo and shadow in the foreground. I've got this golden light and the dust being illuminated in the air. So it gives a very unique lighting situation. By itself, this photograph isn't anything special. I've got several hundred photographs like this over all the years in my travels up in the Palouse, but the unique lighting made me want to take this photograph. And then, of course, you know, from Steptoe and from other areas in the Palouse, as I said at the start of this video, this whole thing is about light, and it's about illuminating the features of these rolling wheat fields. So the light makes us be able to do things like this, where I've got this lighted foreground and you can see these three distinct humps with tracks running along them. And then I've got the background in shadow, yet there's still enough definition to see this repeating pattern in the background. Photograph like this, it's made possible by the light. Photograph like this, again, illuminating that what the light can do across the landscape. Photograph like this, even more dramatic. It's about the tire tracks coming up and the ridges that are highlighted, and then the very deep dark shadows. But one of my favorite ones from this year that highlights the use of light and shadows for why I would take a photograph is this. Very dark blacks, just a few very bright highlights. But it's about shape, it's about motion, it's about flow. This isn't about wheat fields. This is about light and shadows. The subject here doesn't even matter. It's about the light and the shadows. So there you have it. Hopefully you can see that some locations are more about the subject and some locations are more about the light. The quality of light, the direction of light, what it does across your subject. And the Palouse is all about the light. It is a fantastic area to really flex your creative muscles and experiment with how light is captured in your camera. I'll be heading back there again in 2025. I'm done for 2024 up there, but I'll be back up there again. I'm up there every year. I spent 15 years and I can't not go back. The Palouse is that special of a place. So folks, thanks for watching. If you like this video and you want to see more, please do subscribe down below. And other than that, have a great day and keep shooting. All right, bye-bye.